Well met, lords and ladies, Jacob Butter speaking, and a warm welcome to this week's Walking Wednesday. Blimey, this is not too warm, but it's not too cold either. It's quite refreshing. I just spent 3 hours trying to cope with the with loading speeds on Vegas and edit an episode of, or scene of something that I want to be out today. So not only do I have to then go back, it's rendering now, the last scene, not do I then have to go back and then put everything together, but I also have to try and find a way to, well, I know the way to free up more disk space. Just something, because it's weird, because at one point I was told that that I had 21 gigabytes of space, and then not long before that I started running out. Like, I did clear up a couple of things from there, but not 21 gigabytes worth of things, if you know what I mean. So I'm not sure, although to be honest I can probably get rid of the raw gacha captures. Yes, that's right. With any luck, Alphawitch Academy episode 2 will be out today or within the early hours of tomorrow. Because yeah, it's actually been almost exactly a month since the last one was made. And I didn't really want to say, oh yeah, this is how long that takes me, because if anything, this is actually a record for me producing a gacha video, well, a gacha mini movie episode, whatever you want to call it, in this amount of time. Actually, no, it's not a record, because episode 1 of Mutant Girl was 2 weeks. Doesn't matter. You're probably wondering why on earth it took this long, if it's, non-voice acting and everything. But yeah, as far as a solo project goes, it's been okay, but, I had other stuff before that, like some, like episode 9 of Fallen Angels. There were a few scenes I had to do for that. And then after this, I've got a fight scene to look forward to, because I built up to it during the first part, but oh boy, I'm gonna get the complex choreography now. I just didn't learn that at that point, did I? It was only after realizing, oh yeah, in Puppy Love, if I have complex stuff going on, I'm probably going to be the one who's making it. Although it's strange, because originally with Puppy Love, the visuals were supposed to be done entirely by Emma, which, yeah, would have worked out, because back then, Emma was leagues ahead of me in terms of visuals, like out of nowhere. Because, if I take Bad Boy Season 1, for example, or any of the classic Emma 2019 gachas, they were all mostly screenshots. They kept mainly to a single shot, and they had a few bits of edits that went over the top of the screenshots, which was easy to do because they were indeed screenshots. However, when Bad Boy Season 2 came around, strangely enough, she really evolved, like, out of nowhere. I'm not sure how or when, to be honest. Because, yes, she had some of those, like, musical interludes or whatever, but she came back really strong. And, frankly, I'm surprised. It's taken me a while to get to the same general standard and ballpark as she was in. Granted, I haven't done, like, the silhouette turning around or anything like that, or necessarily have too many like tight frames together, but as far as general aesthetic goes, I mean, thanks to Quadzi, I was able to really show what exactly that would be like. So yeah, it's interesting. Although Alphawitch Academy, of course, the main thing that I'm really working on are the effects, because magic. But yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things. We'll see how it goes, because I'm still intrigued. Because again, I don't want to go like full force necessarily into Alphawitch Academy and get all of my hopes up or everything, because I'm not really sure yet. Because there are a few things that I can do with that And I'm sure that I'm reflecting a lot of the slice of life style from the mutant girl nowadays, considering that I'm no longer trying to stop being myself. But who knows? I want to see how much more buzz gets created. Which reminds me, I need to go back and check out the fan art and stuff. Because yeah, episode 1 got fan art almost immediately. And I mean almost immediately because right after I actually decided to upload that and I premiered it, suddenly people were like, oh, okay, let me do some art for that. So I was like, oh, all right, fine. You go ahead and do that. So, yeah, I guess my magnificent piece of fan art portion of the video is going to come back. Well, I'm thinking of stopping really talking about that and describing it. Just gonna show the pieces off probably, because that just takes up valuable time, and sometimes my mic quality ruins it. It's strange. So yeah, I guess I am gonna have my voice in this non-voice acted project after all. Although to be fair, like that disclaimer on the first episode was there too. So I don't know. What am I even saying anymore? But yeah, and also in other news, Nova finally submitted her lines for the Mutant Girl. So, well, for episodes 9 and 10, and then we got to talking about everything, like the plans going forward, which was both a blessing and a curse in terms of both of us. Because yeah, it was difficult enough to submit lines during the summer, but Nova then reiterated the fact that during school time it's going to be even worse. And we're not even done with season 2 still. There's still 2 more episodes to go. So, who knows? I said to her that we would talk about it at some other point and determine whether or not we were going to keep going as Morwenna for as long as I've told her that's what the project is going for, which is the fact that we finished a movie and all of the 3rd season. And she said, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be around for all that. So I don't know. I might have to do seasonal updates on people. See if they're actually going to be able to reprise their roles or anything. Like Adri as well. Like I was waiting for him around the same time as Nova, but I gave him that much of an extension and that was it, honestly. That was all that I was really prepared to do, because on one hand he's staying off of the internet because he knew the cycle it was creating for himself, which arguably is the same for me. But on the other hand, he still tried to remain committed to the project until the very end, but the very end may be sooner than he thinks. So I don't know. I have to stop being... I think this has kind of been a wake-up call for me, because I have to stop being sentimental about the people that have certain roles or whatever, because it always backfires. Again, even back in season 1, we never went 3 episodes without a member of cast changing. In fact, I don't think we've ever gone 3 full episodes without a member of cast changing. I'm really not sure. Like, I don't get it. Because on one hand, I wanted to be consistent. I want the characters to be recognizable in some way. That was my concern at the time. That if we kept on changing them, they would lose the essence of who they were. On the other hand, now that we're 2 years down the line, the characters are still recognizable. Like, there are different people that voice the different characters, but the narrative voice has remained the same. Maybe it's because back then I was relying a lot on the voice actors to really bring the characters to life and determine what personalities they were going to have going forward and everything. Because yeah, it was a lot more interactive back then. Considering that you know, I was like hands-on directing everyone before I stopped doing that. So yeah, I guess. I don't know, I feel like that's another thing to learn about the standard, actually, of gacha voice acting. Because, yeah, people don't remember the standard of... Well, I mean, there was no standard back then when the Mutant Girl started for gacha voice acting. I've talked about this a lot, you know. I keep going in circles about that kind of thing. But, yeah, pretty much no. Like, they, like, we did, what was it? Sorry. Oh, yeah. That nowadays, it's almost like everyone discovered at once that either shows get cancelled, voice actors drop out, editors don't turn in their stuff. I'm not saying this is for my sake. This is for gacha voice acting in general, because it became such a collaborative thing for such a long time that people didn't really know how to cope with it. And, you know, I had a year of advantage, but I also had a year of not really having anything to compare myself to, with the exception of stuff like Midori Stories and Vienna as well, who after a while did in fact join on the voice acting trend in 2019, slightly after myself, but close enough to really be a point if I'd known that they were around at the time. Well, actually no, I did know about Midori Stories. But Midori Stories had something different in the fact that he voiced every single male character in his first voice acted project, which I found to be an intriguing concept, because I think that might be one of the reasons that I decided to do dual performances and stuff, and why I became so obsessed with doing that, because Midori Stories was really able to blend in quite well with himself, and he only had to deal with casting female VAs. That's not to say that I don't want to cast male VAs. In fact, I have been doing so for the longest time. I think around the same time that Midori Stories started doing voice acting himself was the same time that Shiny originally got fired, and I could have, in theory, taken over as Marwick, but I did not, because I had the broader network and everything. It's weird, because I don't tend to cast myself in my own things, and I never have, except for an upcoming movie, you know, Virus Alert. I'm the main role in that, but people will see why I did that for some time. It wasn't because of ego or anything, or, you know, I'm the most reliable voice actor, which of course I am, but you know what I mean. We'll get there eventually, people will see. But yeah, point is that that now I can kind of see that it's not just the Mutant Girl that was cursed to have an unreliable cast or anything. Or not unreliable, that's unfair to Nova. I mean, an unavailable cast. I mean, granted, there are some people who are unreliable, but Nova's not one of them. That's what I mean. But yeah, I've been complaining about this for so long, you know, just voicing myself into the dark on these Walking Wednesdays. And suddenly I was like, oh yeah, wait a minute, this is what happens. This is now the norm. That's interesting, because I did want to be first and doing these things. I did take pride in that, but I knew that I was going to make mistakes that I didn't realize were there until later. And arguably the Mutant Girl was supposed to be a test, really, at first. A test of me doing some amazing chroma keying, animated gacha poses, directing voice actors. It was the first time I did any of that. And yeah, I kind of was trying to wing it, essentially. But yeah, worked it out. after a while because I fell in love with the story. Like there's some reason, like the idea of the musical just kind of spoke to me. Maybe I didn't have any other ideas at the time or something. Or maybe I'm just wired in the way that I always have the same stories progressively update for a long time. Because again, even back in, the days of Tertius Hazelwig and Iconorth and, well, Gorman Viejos and Iconorth, although Tertius Iconorth actually was going on for longer than Amusing Girl. People don't realise that. But yeah, point is, I feel like that's just me, always trying to update myself. And again, I was getting better at script writing and stuff. I realised that it's interesting doing a new show now with Alphawitch Academy and how it's almost like a retread of Mutant Girl, but with much more polish and, again, 0 voice actors. Which I mean in the sense of we actually, it's the sense of the first few episodes are just build up to something, me trying to explore what kind of mysteries and elements I can implement before going into more of a through line, because I'm sure that I will. Like again, if Aiden has his way, this series will go on for a long time, and as a tractor here, great. Oh no, it's a lawnmower. We're fine. Okay. But yeah, I feel like that's just my way, to be honest. Like even in Minecraft, I was improvising a bunch of stuff before I knew kind of where the story was going to go and more of what an objective I should have. I just kind of decide that on the spot. And then with scripted stuff, it's kind of the same. I feel like now I've adapted to both the formula of gacha voice acting or gacha making in general, and also my own formula. Because, as Aiden pointed out, I have my own cliches. I don't. I'd like to point out other tropes that are commonly used, but I tend to have a lot of them that I still use myself that are somewhat not dated. Weirdly enough, it's interesting. Like the stuff that really should date does not date. Like Neutral, for example. It's annoying to half of people and fine to some of the other ones, which is just Ren Juice's dynamic all over again. But yeah, it's one of those things. It's like, how long can this drag out for? How long can I keep this idea fresh? Maybe I'm better at keeping my own ideas fresh versus those of somebody else, or those that I see all the time, more accurately speaking. I think that's what I really mean to say. But yeah, it will be a while before we actually see episode 9 still of Mutant Girl, because for one thing, a guy that I asked to fill in for Julius this time, who is not me because I got too much flack for doing that last time, and also because my Julius impression sounds too much like Darren, who's in the episode as me, so, I'm in as him, whatever. But yeah, he said he's got a busy week, so he's going to get them done at the weekend. Which, you know what, fair enough. The weekend is better than undetermined unit of time, which is just Adley's availability all over again. I really don't know. And then there's just Mrs. Dysart as well. But yeah, we've got a flashback going on. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Will this be a slice? Will Alphawitch Academy be another slice of life series, or will I have a greater through line of some sort of fantastical elements to vanquish? Possibly both. I mean, considering that I've seen what Aiden's been able to do in Fallen Angels, and co-edited that myself. Well, and co-written it, I mean. Maybe that's something to do. Who knows? I might have to bring him on board with the writing after all, or something. Who knows, or dares to dream. Well, I dare to dream, and I'll dream it soon enough. Because Lord knows that since I got those lines in, since I was rendering the videos and everything else, I haven't had much time for dreaming. Literally, I've been awake the whole time. But yeah, who knows. I've got reviews to do, disk space to clear out, and most importantly of all, some food to eat. So I'm going to sign off for now. This was an update where nothing pretty much happened. Also, I'm not in Crawley. I don't know if you've noticed. You know, this is the week that I was supposed to go to Exeter, and now I'm more glad than ever that I didn't, because I would never have been able to keep up with all this stuff. And also I wouldn't be able to catch up on watching Future Man, my brother, which has become really enjoyable for the pair of us for a variety of reasons. But yeah, that's an interesting one if anyone wants to check it out. Maybe not if you're significantly young. I don't know. Probably if you're a teenager. Like, I don't know, it's probably got a rating or something. Look at the rating first, then check it out if you apply. Anyway, that's that for now. I think that's the only non-YouTube thing this week. I've been trying to get hold of Sophie for a while, but I haven't seemed to get any response yet, so who knows. But yeah. So please leave a like or dislike, because your opinion matters. I'm very hungry and tired, so I'm going to go now. And on that note, subscribe if not done so already, and farewell.